All right, what is up, everybody? ShouScout0013 here, coming in with a video on the new upgrades as well as list ideas with Canadian Bear and Grant. And I wanted to just go over a quick few housekeeping things. If you haven't already joined the Discord, join the Discord. This will get you extra entries in to win the order tokens from ComScan. These tokens are extremely amazing. They're the best order tokens in the galaxy. They have the highest quality visual details on there. The decals are awesome. The weight is great. I know that rhymed. Hello. But yeah, these things are the highest quality order tokens out there, and I absolutely love these things. If you want to use Shadow Scout for 10% off, that would be great. They're really, really worth it, and I've got a pair to give away. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment. Head on over to the Discord and talk with some really cool, like-minded guys for CIS, GAR, Empire, for general stuff. We have Coco who will be streaming in France this weekend. If you want to check that out, all of the stuff is in the description. And each time that you comment and level up, you'll see it right here. You'll get a notification, and that'll get you extra entries in to win as well. But I will not hold it up anymore. This is a video that I hope you enjoy. All right, what is up, everybody? ShouScout0013 here, coming in with Canadian Bear.
Hello.
And Grant on Yay.
What's up?
What up? And today we're going to go over a lot of the new upgrades and some list ideas with those new upgrades, as well as kind of talk about any experience that we have now with the upgrades. I know I've got at least a game in against somebody who wanted to play the Echo Base with Doug in, and I mistakenly played, Bunker Assault against that. And I know that you played Canadian Bear in a tournament this past weekend, that if you want to go ahead and kind of share some of your experience with, because that had the new upgrades available. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead and take that away and talk to us about it.
Sure. So it's a nice little local event. It's 10 players. Like you were saying, we had the new upgrades and points to play with. So there's 3 rounds. My first game was against an Empire list. They didn't upload it to Longshank, so I don't have it 100%, but I'm 99% sure this is the units, at least. Not 100% on the upgrades though. But Krennic, Callus, Din at least had his 3 like mandatory Mando upgrades. And then you had, I believe, 3 Ion Snows, a squad of Riots with the KX droids, and Black Sun with Scatter, Vigo, and Frags, Death Troopers with Overwatch, a Dewback, and then an E-Web with Duggan. And we had played Bunker, Sweep, and we both had Garrison, which I should go over my list. Why do I have Garrison? Because I decided to see if I could try to make like an Ollie version list work with if it wasn't for Ahsoka with no Jedi. So I dropped Anakin, which got me Recon on Rex, Clone Commander with Improv. Bad Batch is still Bad Batch. Fives Jumbo with Shotgun into the Fray and E-Gear. Captain Jumbo with Shotgun and E-Gear. Ahsoka Jumbo Shotgun E-Gear into the Fray Impact Grenades. And then I wanted to try out the new Strike and Fade upgrade, so I paired that up with 2 RPS Barks. I like the concept. I can still say that I don't understand why the sidecars don't give you an extra health. Just put them at 6. I don't know what's so terrifying about that.
I don't know. That would make sense.
Yeah, especially now that the ATRT is red saves and armor 2 and 6 wounds.
Maybe we'll get there at some point for the bikes. I think the bikes still need some love.
Yeah. And like they still put in work, but it was just that 5 health felt bad. Um but yeah, so Garrison obviously went on the Ahsoka squad because that's nice having 2 dodges on a blocking unit and a surge to start round 1.
Yeah, that's a
Um
beautiful start.
yeah. And I think turn 1 I managed to take out Mando before he could flame one of my jumbo squads because it's like there I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, that's the
um
biggest
I
weakness.
was
Those flames are the
mhm,
worst.
yeah.
I was personally victimized by an Arsenal 2 Flamer Beskar Spear a
Ugh.
couple weeks ago. I think all in all, he got every single hit, and it was 9 red, 2 black. Yeah, it did not feel good. Thankfully, my defense dice were hot, and I only lost 3 guys out of a 7-man squad, but
Mhm,
was not didn't enjoy rolling that many red dice.
that's fair.
Yeah.
And I will say this player was relatively new, and I didn't realize that the score was going to end up the way that it did, so I felt bad. But he still had a good time, which was good, and I've tried to make it like a good learning experience overall. um, and like gave him like some like we talked about the game afterwards. But final score was 17-6.
Oh man. I hope that was a
um,
good learning experience for him. That is
yeah, I
rough.
know. And kill points came down to 790 to 78, so I only lost 1 bark speeder, which I will say, ions, suck it. I hate you. Because I also didn't know that you took ion off at the end of your activation or at the end of the turn. So I was rolling a broken die and ion dice and not rolling anything. So they were the one bike was only compulsing.
You didn't know to take it off
uh,
after your activation?
I no, I didn't know that because I don't play with vehicles normally, or if I do, I
Uh,
haven't run into ion.
okay. That's a good
So
learning
I learned
experience for
something that
you.
game too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
triple
yeah.
something to be wary of.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Pretty much, I had Ahsoka on the left hand side, and then pretty much everything else was right hand side, and then just went through them, and then had the game not ended. I think that was turn 4. Maybe it was turn 5. I don't know. If there had been another turn, then the stuff, or no, there would have been another turn even. So my stuff would then have gone over and then surrounded his last bunker. Um, but yeah. Um, and then my second game was against a rebel list. Was intercept, destroy enemy base, and then we both had cunning. And this one, he did upload his list, so I have it here. It was Lando completely naked, Ahsoka burst of speed, force reflexes, and tenacity. Sabine with strike team leader, uh, grappling line, prepared positions, dark saber, a naked rebel trooper. 2 vets with heavy and super squad. 1 had a smoke grenade. 2 Mark twos, Clan Ren, and a resistance with the duelist. They both had prepared positions and jetpack rockets. and then a rebel commando with the saboteur. So yeah, this game was pretty much that. um, he had so instead of doubling up on Clan Ren, he opted to have his strike team leader with Sabine go to the resistance. So he was handing out 2 tokens, 1 to each unit, which was pretty good. And thankfully, I think I scared off Sabine and dealt like 3 wounds to her on turn 1, or no, turn 2. So then she ran away for a turn, so kept her out of the fight. But then Ahsoka ran in, and my 5's jumbo squad was able to tie or stay tied up with her for a while, and ended up winning that, and then winning against Sabine after she came back to help score with Lando. That was also my first time playing against new Lando, and incognito and guidance is sure, guys. That feels fair for Yoda.
No, that is the worst. Especially
uh,
with the one step ahead. Did he utilize that quite often?
mostly on himself.
Okay.
Um, the the jumbo vet squads were also they were pretty good because it's 9 black dice, 4 white dice, critical 2 search to hit. And they mostly just were kind of defending these. One was kind of coming up in the middle. The other one was going onto one of the intercept sides and pretty much just stayed there and kind of like held me back for a bit, or was trying to like whittle me down. And because he was up on a building, I kind of had to like partially ignore him as far as what I wanted to. I know turn 3 also we both simultaneously scored each other's bunkers,
Okay.
which was kind of crazy. Both of us going up. I think it was like 5 points that turn. But yeah, ended up with well, it was kind of I should say on one side there was Bad Batch, who had taken a bunch of wounds from Ahsoka, or yeah, Ahsoka. So they were running away then to handle the one side objective, and for the rest of the game, Bad Batch and a Mark II were kind of like those lovers that are rivals, and it's like, no, I must kill you, no, I don't want to, and they just kept shooting at each other and nothing would happen.
Like
Just the
turning
entire time.
away, just shooting.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, my toe's behind cover. I have cover now, so nothing hits me. Just that was the entire game on that side. It was very funny.
Nice.
But that game ended up at 14 to 8, 629 to 143. I believe what that would have been was my clone commander and a bark is what I lost there.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. I definitely lost like some other guys, but those are the only 2 full units that I lost. And then my last game was against a now revitalized hatred for Dark Troopers.
This one's gonna be good.
Yes. So we ended up doing close to pocket, sweep and clear. He had fortified, I had garrison. Again, went to the Ahsoka squad. And his list was Krennic with Improv, Trusted Agent, uh, Gideon with the Darksaber, Op Vader with Burst, Push, Into the Fray, Tenacity, 2 Naked Riots, Naked Storm, and then 3 Program Loyalty, Assault Cannon, Dark Troopers. Now, if you're wondering why I hate Dark Troopers again, it's because they changed how passes work, and passes are not counted off of activations, they're counted off of units. So even though I had 8 activations, he had 9, it was almost as if he still had like 3 pass tokens. I was able to get an early lead in this game and surprised him by scout to my Bad Batch and double speed 3. We do what we do. Shot into Krennic and one shot him, getting me an early 2 points on sweep and clear.
Nice.
They then proceeded to eat for the rest of the game. I think it took maybe 9 or 10 shots before they actually died from Dark Troopers. But again, that's 2 turns, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh no. And I think this. Did I kill anything else this game? I did. What else did I kill? I killed a riot squad. So yeah, the only things in this list that I killed were Krennic and a riot squad. And I was able to kill Krennic before he was able to use Trusted Agent, which I'm sure was helpful. It didn't feel like it. But
Did
Improv, I will say, did hurt him, but I never got to experience what Trusted Agent felt like for that list.
did Yoda get to do very much for you?
Or I didn't have Yoda
Okay, it
for
was
this
just
one.
Rex and Bad
Yeah,
Batch. Okay, that's right.
yeah, Rex, Bad Batch, and a Clone Commander, because
That's right.
I wanted to try to see about doing the coordinate and then always having at least 3 orders on the board and having 2 dodges on the board for every turn. But pretty much, I had 1 bark on the left hand side, and then the rest of my army started from the right hand side. The bark essentially by itself was able to stop them from scoring the left hand side. It tied with a riot, and a stormtrooper squad wasn't able to move in to get it to 2-1 on that side. I was early scoring the right hand side, but my focus was pretty much on Vader because I knew that if I couldn't take him down, that it wouldn't matter if Dark Troopers are able to shoot me or not. I would just be getting pushed around and whatnot. And I couldn't do anything about that. So unfortunately, on turn 2 or turn 1, I should say, I had cohered my 5 squad in such a way to leave room for my other squads to run past it the next turn. But Vader was then able to burn his burst of speed with infiltrate on turn 1, move, force push 5s out so that he could then run in and charge them on turn 1. So I did not think about that. So that definitely hurt me. I then proceeded to, we both played 1 pips on turn 2, Implacable for him, and Call Me Captain for Rex. I lost the roll off, which was big because then he was able to push 5s out of line of sight of Rex, so that he was then able to hide. And then was able to get the first attack in, which dealt more wounds. But yeah, it was solid. I think I thought I had left enough room after he had killed a bunch of models for the fully healthy Ahsoka squad to charge in, but it was like millimeters too tight. And so that didn't help. And then I pretty much had to I was kind of scrambling after that point. And from there I was getting pushed around and whatnot and wasn't able to ever claim the center, which while I had been ahead, I was slowly falling behind. And that game ended up 10-6 in his favor, 739 to 119.
Oof.
So I think all I had left was Rex and the captain squad. Those are the only things left, I think.
Man, yeah, that sounds.
I also forgot that Darksaber gives Gideon immune pierce in melee.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, the pass token thing is what really kind of sucks the most, because they can always just go for, like, even if they play their 1 pip, they can pass if they need to, or 3 pip, it doesn't really matter. Whenever they need those pass tokens, they can use it, especially round 1, the most valuable time to use pass tokens.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, it's a good game, but a good tournament. I just want to get my revenge now.
Well, you'll have another tournament coming up soon?
I know there's another one in a couple weeks, so I'm not able to make that one, and then there's at the very least a 2-day event in August, but I don't know what that is looking like as far as like who's going and whatnot yet.
Okay. I know that
But
you
I
got
know
a...
he is going to be at Crucible again.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have to get some practice in after dark with some Pally.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
together.
no,
And
we started talking about that, so we're gonna. It's looking like every other Friday is kind of what we're looking at.
nice. Okay, and that's for the Pally and Canadian Bear, or Pally and Graham after dark.
Yeah, we'll figure out what we're doing still, but that's kind of like the one night that works out for us.
Nice. Okay. No, that should be super exciting. You just kind of like go off the cusp and kind of, give your take on whatever you want, or
Yeah.
whatever you want, Legion, or whatever, gaming, or doesn't matter. I think it should be fun.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the lists that we have made with the kind of like upgrades to kind of show off some stuff. I know that the first list is one that Grant made with Rebels. And Grant, you want to go ahead and kind of explain your list?
Yeah. So note that this was made very quickly on the fly, trying to think about how can we abuse Dug In. Um, so looking at it, we started off with Leia with improvised orders and portable scanners, a naked Lando for his guidance. We've got 3 Rebel vets with the heavy and Dug In, 1 Rebel vet just with Dug In, 4 Mark IIs all with Dug In, 2 naked sleeper cells to Shadow Scout's dismay, and 2 AA5 speeders with the door gunner and the quad lasers. So didn't get too far into some of the objectives, looking at primaries, thinking what can we do? Obviously, this is not a super mobile list. It's more so how can I bunker down and prevent my enemy from scoring, and how can I outplay him objectively? So obviously looking bunker assaults, and Recover were kind of the main ones that seem pretty appealing. Breakthrough, I think, would be the third best for this list, although it will still struggle just because you're not having that many units that are going to be mobile. Definitely recover the research. You can throw out your sleeper cells to some of your far off points while having your vets and Mark IIs sitting tight, scoring those home POIs, and then repositioning the buses in a way to where you can either score two POIs at once or make a nice solid just wall around an opposing POI that maybe you can't necessarily get to, but you're going to block it in such a way that neither can your opponent. Similar thought process with bunker. Really just hunkering down on those bunkers, using Lando's incognito and guidance to kind of help get the sleeper cells to focus in more so on one side, and after that, your bus can be used to kind of just make it to where your opponent could still get to one of your bunkers, but they're going to have a very hard time doing it. As far as objective play on it for the secondaries, probably looking at destroy, something that would be kind of swingy, maybe help you close that gap a little bit earlier to pull ahead. Definitely don't want marked targets. Maybe sweep and clear. And then after that, let's see, what would be some other options here as far as secondaries?
I mean, I would say mark targets. You've got lots of firepower for it. And
You've also got some paper saves though. I try not to do, and given I'm also not a rebel player, but I try not to do mark targets on objects like that.
you could do bring them to heal with the amount of standbys you can do and getting a lot of suppression on. So if someone triggers a standby, you can shoot them, and then on your turn, shoot somebody else to put a lot of suppression out. And then destroy enemy base. You could use the AA5s to get to that spot a lot quicker if you're not shooting as much. You could also, with recon, you could give it to the bus because range 2, up to range 2 is pretty big. And surface scan, you could also give it to both buses if you wanted to do that. So that's at least another 2 that you could use.
Yeah, and probably obviously throw on intel with that high of an activation count. You're probably not going to have access to many passes as far as an advantage. Cunning deployment's always good to throw some extra dodges out there. But probably on your sleeper cell because you're not going to be able to hold them back as far for as long. And then been liking ordnance here more recently. I mean, you've got the quad laser on your 2 buses to where you can throw out a little bit more impact. But if you run into something like a snail or an ATST, you're gonna definitely need some more impact more frequently. So definitely.
So what I'm thinking is you've got 3 units with the CMO 93, which is critical 2. All of your 4 Mark IIs are also critical 2, and your bus has impact 2, and so you've got a lot of ways to get crits through. Leia surges to crit in case Lando surges to crit. So I wouldn't say that those are necessary, but you have a ton of dug in. So I even think fortified positions could be fairly good because now you've got ways to put heavy cover in different places that you didn't before.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. And then definitely being able to put it on some of the M2s, that way you can coordinate in placement trooper. And now that they've got fire support, they can just sit there with standbys and sentinels to really kind of rain down on anything that's going to come towards your bunkers.
Yeah, and you've also got guidance core with Lando, so you can move those speed one guys on a turn outside of their own to get them kind of farther forward. And then you've also got Leia's 2-pip that can allow them to take a free speed one move if they needed to. So you do have some mobility. It's just a matter of you got to play a command card and or use guidance on those turns. But yeah, you've at least got something that you can use to at least move into position, especially the Mark IIs, because they don't want to move on their turn. So a guidance could help the Mark IIs move a lot, and after they've used their fire support standby, hopefully, or and yeah, even with the Mark IIs having a standby with their fire support, you can get a free move in if you needed to get into a better position to either deny cover or to get into cover a little bit more. So you've got some mobility. It's just a matter of finagling that mobility due to different actions.
Yeah. No, it was definitely something to look into. Like I said, this was a quick on the fly, but I think out of the newer upgrades, obviously Dug In is going to be one that I think Rebels are going to see quite a bit of. Um, Door gunners on the AA5s just really help out, especially if you are trying to play them on one like Recover, or I mean, really any of them. If you're trying to spread out and just make a wall, well, now you've got a wall that hits back on top of the quad laser, not having a defined arc.
Yeah. Well, I like the list. I think it would be a very fun list to play, especially with all the critical in there and the impact and the 2 buses. Being able to transport possibly those sleeper cells to get close to use that speed or that range 2 gun very quickly. But yeah, this looks like a very fun list. Now, Graham, I think you also wound up making a Rebel list. If you wanted to talk about that one.
I will admit this is probably a bad list, but it still looks ridiculous. At least to see across the table, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But Echo-based defenders, 16 activations, Leia with improv, vigilance, E-gear, 6 vets, 6 Mark IIs, all with Dug In. And then you've got 3 Tons with jammers and mission objective. So, because oftentimes you don't have a chance to get an aim if you're going to charge in with those guys. So even though you've already got the Ram 2, if both of them are alive, you've now got at least a third thing to modify a die, potentially. So that, at least I kind of like that combination on those. I don't like that that's 106 points, but it is what it is. Honestly, I think the hardest thing with this list is trying to figure out secondaries that don't struggle, and the only one I can think of really is destroy enemy base and maybe bring them to heal, just for the amount of different shots that can go out.
Let's see. You said
But
destroy enemy base and bring them to heal. I would say even either recon, because you're definitely gonna get those Tauntaun riders at range, and then you can have a Tauntaun rider that's coming up behind, claim it in case the other one drops.
that's true. Yeah, throw that in
Yeah,
there, right?
I was thinking surface scan too for that same reason. Even if your tons do nothing else but just shoot and run away, I mean, those little bit bigger bases, speed 3, you can stay outside of your deployment range pretty easy, and also move, shoot and move just far enough to where someone couldn't move in speed 2 and get a shot off if you ran into like a mirror match with sleeper cells or even arcs. You'd have to move out. Well, arcs have charge, but
Yeah.
You'd be able to move out just enough to where they'd have to double move to try to get a shot off.
True. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, it's kind of dumb, but it's a thing.
Yeah, no, I think 16 activations is still very tough to try to go up against, especially when you're rolling red dice for cover and
Yeah.
heavy cover. You're gonna have a hard time getting these guys.
And low profile.
And low profile, that's right. God, that's right. See, I had to play up against vets with Dug in, and the only thing that saved me to begin with were the Mandalorian jetpack rockets because they've got blast and they're range 4. So that's the only thing that kind of helped. But other than that, yeah, the low profile, any other time I tried shooting at them, it was almost impossible to get anything through.
Sounds about right.
Yep. So I think even if there's a way, maybe instead of comms jammer. Okay. Well, no. Okay. So if you're playing against this list, I think that if you had something similar to that and you put what is the other new spotter uplink to give sharpshooter 1 to the tauntauns, and
Yep.
now if you're going up against a unit with dug in, that at least the units that are not engaged in range 1 of the unit with dug in, they'll gain sharpshooter 1, so that kind of helps, I guess.
I mean, it would give the Ton Sharpshooter 2 essentially. Because they natively have Sharpshooter 1.
Right. Now is it
Well, spotter uplink gives other units
That's
sharpshooter
right.
1, right?
Yeah, when another allied unit declares a
Yeah.
ranged 1 attack. So at least the rebel veterans would have sharpshooter 1 against a dug in profile, a dug in unit.
Yeah.
But,
And with their critical power, well, yeah, you could get some crits in.
yeah. So yeah, that's a good one. I think see, again, a lot of acts like that it's just hard each round. If you're not taking something out, it's impossible to kind of overwhelm.
Yeah. For sure.
Nice. Well, I have definitely been playing around with Shadow Collective with the new updates, and I think the first one I wouldn't mind talking about is one with Bosk. So the Pike Apo, there's a Pike Apo with Trusted Agent, and even though the Pike Apo is a Pike, you can still use Trusted Agent to give Bosk in order in case you ever needed to. And then there's another Pike Capo with improvised orders. And then you have Bosk with mission objective, on the hunt, and targeting scopes. That way, you can at least still always re-roll a dice if someone is, on a POI or holding. There's different objectives that go along with that. It's what. Let's see. Surface scan, recon mission, intercept. All 3 of those have a unit carrying something. And then on top of the POIs, you've got the ability to reroll a dice with that. And then you've got a Magdet Enforcer and Black Sun Vigo unit. You've got a unit with the same thing, Magdet, Black Sun, Vigo, and frag grenades, so that it's going to go on the bus. 2 units of shooty pikes with the disruptor and the capo. 3 bikes with strike and fade, because I wanted to try strike and fade. And then you've got a bus with raiding party leader, because you're going to have 2 buses of 5 vehicles that are all going to have demoralize 1. And then you've got that raiding party leader with the door gunner and the heavy laser retrofit for that range 4. That way, it's definitely possible to get a shot in. And then you have another bus with the unstable astromech, door gunners, frenzy gunner, and the quad laser, which is probably a lot better than what a rebel bus can do damage-wise, because you can't get frenzied gunner outside of Shadow Collective. And with the frenzied gunner, obviously you're adding a die to the attack pool of the quad laser, so you're rolling 7 dice. And then if you have a unit at range 2 of you, you're going to roll another 4 dice, so then that's 11. And then you pop the unstable astromech and shoot another 7 dice into a unit So you just shot 18 dice into hopefully one unit of red saves and destroyed them. And then the next turn you just move and you start obliterating again. And with the impact 2 on the quad laser, that'll be like impact 4 that round. So you're doing pretty good. I think the bikes with strike and fade and an independent aim or dodge, hopefully the dodge. I think overrun does work with that because it is still a standard move that you're performing for free. So if you're not in range of a unit to begin with for that compulsory move, you can still compulsory move, shoot, and then move to get off the overrun, and then do strike and fade, and then move and get off that overrun. So you'll be able to move 4 times and attack 3 times. And with the astromech on the speeder truck, you are able to just get so much damage done as efficient as possible because, you know, again, with the astromech, you're shooting 18 dice and attacking 3 times. With the speeder truck, other one, you're attacking twice per round. And then the swoop bike riders, it's inexhaustible, I think. Yeah, it's inexhaustible. So if you can compulse, recover, shoot, and then you can use that card again, you're still getting a move action in. And so you can still optimize the amount of moves that the swoop bike is making with the strike and fade. Again, and you're positioning in a way that you can use the raiding party leaders demoralize 1 on those bikes. And with that extra move, you can really try to get them into a range of at least a unit, range 1 to 2. And with the pikes, they've all got impact 1 with the disruptor. Your Magdet's got impact 3 and blast. And then one of them has a frag grenade. And then Bosk has surge to crit. And then you can give Bosk an order whenever you need to, especially on a turn where you're playing any of the like ploy, aggression, or discretion, where with the card you don't give out any orders. You can gain an aim on it with aggression, or if you're using discretion, don't give out any orders and they all get a dodge, but then you give Bosk an order with trusted agent so it doesn't affect anything. So you can technically give maybe Bosk an order with trusted agent, but not the card because the pike capos can't be nominated to give Bosk an order. But at least with ploy, you can maybe give it to a truck and then use the trusted agent to give Bosk an order. So there's a lot of fun little fancy ways to try to obliterate your opponent / get out orders and some extra tokens when needed. There's no force user, which is weird. But I think it's 12 activations, and that's a ton of firepower for the 12 activations that you're shooting, because you've got 2 Black Sun units, and then all those buses have a ton of firepower. Objective.
I wonder, could you
No, go ahead.
Could you use strike and fade for an overrun and get some kind of figure 8 in? Like, I'm just thinking, if so, hang on, let me think this out a little bit better. Hang on.
Well, you get 4 moves. So
So
1, 2, 3, 4. So almost a figure 8. But what's the reason for the figure 8?
well, that's what to get some multiple attacks in. So, which, I mean, this would be super situational, right? So make sure that I'm going about this. Yep. So speeder 1, so you can ignore terrain height 1. So if you were close enough to use your compulsory move to where you got an overrun, your first true move would be trying to wheel back around. If your second action was an attack, I don't think you could wheelie around quick enough to get a second overrun. Basically, overrun, move, shoot, and then your free move from strike and fade be another overrun move. I don't think you could swing it around quite quick enough. because there's nothing in. I mean, it's just a move action, so you could, in theory, get an overrun off a strike and fade, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can.
Uh,
You can. What were you gonna say?
or the most you could ever do is 3 moves though,
Right,
because
compulse.
overrun doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
compulse.
overrun isn't an attack action. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Right.
so you could pulse into an overrun and then shoot, strike and fade, trigger overrun, and then move. And still like run away. Or just
Gotcha.
pivot, I guess.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's at least providing a lot more action economy, and able to get into a position that should hopefully help you with either overrun or an attack or the demoralize the next round. So whenever you, instead of rallying, you just go ahead and give that suppression out. So it's at least a way to make them more annoying, and
Oh yeah.
that's what they should be doing. If you can find a way to put them in a list with Maul, Maul can be engaged, and then you can strike and fade and overrun everything that is in melee with Maul, and that way you don't have to take Force Choke. You can just take Clairvoyance, which is going to be a lot better on him than Force Choke, and that's a tough leave behind, man. It's like I always want Force Choke because it has worked wonders, but then Clairvoyance is going to keep him alive and not let me blank out 5 red dice all at once at the same time.
Yep.
No.
I think the biggest battle that you're going to fight with Clairvoyance is, choosing which force upgrade to leave behind. Because I think some people are valuing Clairvoyance to an extent, because it's basically like a free Soresu. You get a free reroll to where odds are it happens, you can completely whiff on an attack, and nothing feels worse than, say you were going up against your Echo based list that you were saying. If those vets got off, all their hits on Maul, it's going to feel really bad whenever the statistics work out to where you get straight blanks. So, yeah, getting a free, hang on, I'm going to redo that, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and I think it's even nicer, because in Shadow Collective, you've got the ability to heal Maul 2 wounds, which is really good. So you can take a round if you had to take a few wounds, and then I think that it's probably best when you've only got like 1 hit point left, and now they've only done like maybe 1 damage through. I think that's the best case scenario because that's only 1 dice you've got to reroll, and it's a 50-50 chance anyway, possibly, to get that. So if you do get the chance to reroll it, more than likely you could survive. If you're rolling like 4 dice, average is still 2 hits and two blanks. So the fewer dice you have to roll, like if you've been able to save it, I think is great. But yeah, if there's like a massive blank, which has happened plenty of times before, Clairvoyance at least is there. So I think I've been adding Clairvoyance to everybody now, like Vader and to Maul. I think that at least with those two, Push and Clairvoyance is probably going to be the top 2 that I'm doing, because with the amount of damage they can do, being able to keep them alive a little longer is still going to be better than just that 1 damage. Yes.
If you're rolling my red defense dice, they're blanking even on the Clairvoyance roll, so we'll see.
So just like a quick like objective thing wise, I think recover and breakthrough and bunker assault could be really good, and then sweep and clear, destroy the enemy base because you've got 3 bikes that can triple move, and still get a attack off, and then bring them to heal because the amount of times that the bus is shooting / the bikes could be shooting, and the pikes are range 4. Oh yeah, and with the raiding party leader, you get the extra suppression. So bring them to heal would be an amazing upgrade for that. And then I've got strafing run, just to do even more suppression. with Bring Them to Heal and the Raiding Party Leader, Advanced Intel, and Cunning Deployment. So I think those are the best options for that. And Boss gets suppressive as well. So he's going to be handing out a ton of suppression. But that is the favorite Shadow Collective list that I've been thinking about. And then I don't know which one of these to really go over. There are two main Empire ones. Should I go over like a Vader one or a Inquisitor one?
Inquisitors need some love.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we've got Krennic with Improvised and Trusted Agent in order to give one of the Inquisitors a possible order. And then you've got the Sister with Clairvoyance, because it's the only Force slot. They can't recover really Force Push or anything like that. And Burst of Speed could be good, but I think Clairvoyance is going to be really needed, especially since they only have block. Inquisitorious Training and Into the Fray on the Sister, because she's going to be the one getting into melee since she's got better command cards for her being in melee. The Fifth Brother has Clairvoyance, Tenacity, and Seize the Initiative in case he needs to give himself an order. And you got Din with Mission Objective, Tenacity, the Projector, Jetpack, and the Beskar Spear. So you've got three main melee-oriented units. And then whenever I think I've got Din's 1-pip in here. This is the way in order to, again, up the action economy, give him Relentless. Fifth Brother can then pop Seize the Initiative, and then Seventh Sister can get an order from Trusted Agent. So now you've got 3 operatives all with an order on the 1-pip turn. So you can go with them when you need. I've got 3 Shore Troopers with the T-21 and Dug In. I've got 3 Mortars with Dug In. You've got a Snow Trooper with the Flamethrower and Imperial March, so that they can do the move and then a speed 2 move and then do the flamer if they need to. And then you've got the Death Troopers with the DTF-16 and the E-11D. I'm assuming with Imperial March, it's saying when this makes a second move action. So if you had to compel them with the DTF-16 or Krennic, the Snow Troopers, that's still a move action that they're making. And so they can then do a speed 2 move if they had to with the Imperial March. So I think Compel should still be good on them, even if they're still suppressed. And then the Mortars have fire support, so they should get a free standby every turn. And then the amount of suppression that they should do is pretty great. The fact that I can now have 3 Shores with 3 T-21Bs is really amazing. And this is, again, 12 activations with fully kitted out Sister, Brother, Din, fully heavied Shores and Dug In, and then Snows with a Flame, Imperial March and Dug In, and a Death Trooper unit. You're looking at quite a bit of firepower still, and Krennic with Improvised with 12 activations. You're doing really good. 7 core. I mean, it's not really, you're gonna not really need a ton of improvised orders, because Imperial Death Troopers are always going to have an order with Krennic, and then it's always just the fact that you're going to have probably 1 or so. You're probably between the orders. You've got This Is the Way, Come and Prove It, which gives it to the Brother and Sister. So the only one left in the bag is Din. So sure. And then Deploy the Garrison can go to both of the Force users, and then you have standbys on 5 units. 3 Mortars and 2 Inquisitors. I like those odds, again, for better action economy, giving him 2 attacks. And then if you had to, again, use Pop Seize the Initiative or Trusted Agent on that one. So now you've got all your operatives having an order again. You hide your fear well with Sister and 2 units. And then I care not for your struggles. In case, with the fact that all your core is speed 1, the fact that they're going to have Dauntless, if they get suppressed, they can at least still move in case they need to get into a position for the POI. That can help. Plus, it's still giving it out to 3 units. And then for the battle plans, Bunker Assault, Intercept, and Recover, because at least it's longer range with the Shores and the Mortars. So at least with intercept. If you needed to make sure that no one was going to score your back objective, you can keep the shores around. Recover, the research, and bunker assault. The objectives are basically already in your deployment zone. Sweep and clear, bring them to heal and recon. The sweep and clear and recon can go onto your Inquisitors and or Den, and then advanced ordnance, because you really don't have any impact in here whatsoever. And then cunning deployment, just to kind of make sure you get those dodges onto 7th Sister, 5th Brother, and Den if you needed to, or to Krennic for the extra exemplar dodge. But yeah, that is a 12 activation Inquisitorious Den kind of list. But yeah, hopefully Clairvoyance dug in, trusted agents, mission objective. You've got all the new upgrades in there. Hopefully you're doing something with them, and I think Den with the mission objective can be really good, especially that way he can save his aim for Pierce instead of having to reroll. But he does have Duelist, so I mean, it doesn't really matter there. Yeah. And then I've got one with Padme. I don't think we've seen Padme since Legacy. It's been a very long time. She's been having some fun with Anakin and staying back, and not getting onto the battlefield. But with her, I've got a Clone Captain Rex with Improvised. I've got a Clone Commander with Trusted Agent. I've got a Bad Batch Padme with Strike Team Leader, so that she can give retinue to the ARC Troopers. And then I think this should be really well, and I'll explain kind of like, the Bolster 2 is going to be really good on ARCs. Obviously, they really want it. Her Agile 1 is great. If she only had Exemplar, it'd be even better. The Inspire 2, to be able to at least make sure that the ARC Troopers get 2 actions every time, is nice. And then her command cards I'll go over in a second. But you've got 2 Clone Infantry squads with just the Clone Medic. Then you've got a Clone Infantry squad with the Clone Commander to get an extra Surge token. So now you're starting with 2 Surges. You've got a Z6. You've got a Clone Infantry squad. And then you've got targeting scopes. So you're rolling 16 dice. 10 black and 6 white, and with 2 Surges, maybe 1 from Bolster if she's around, and or the regular Clone Commander is around. Now you've got 3 Surges, and maybe an aim off of someone else. So you've got lots of ways to get some hits through. And then 3 ARC Trooper squads with the Medic and Emergency Stems coming out at 10 activations. Lots of firepower in here. Being able to add Rex's 3 red to the entire squad of 16 dice. Now you've got 19 dice. Is insane if they're all alive by the time you play it, but that's a possibility. For command cards, the aggressive negotiations for the ARC Troopers to get an extra speed 1 move is going to be really nice. The fact that I would bring Diplomatic Cover, the only reason is to give her Infiltrate and Secret Mission. And that'll put her closer to her Strike Team Leader squad, because if you give them to the ARCs, they're going to have Scout 2, and then they can move. With her being able to infiltrate, you can get into that range 2 bubble of those ARCs a lot easier and stay there for a lot more rounds. Now, I know that it allows you to provide backup with that Strike Team Leader, but again, they're only a range 2 shot, and most of the time, the later rounds, it's not going to matter anyway. I've only had to use backup maybe in the first round, maybe the second round ever, and it never has come up other than that. We do what we do, take that Clankers, call me Captain, and ambush, because our fate is in your hands. I mean, sure, you can give it to Padme, but I'd rather give it to someone else who needs it. But yeah, aggressive negotiations, being able to give an aim, a dodge, or surge, or a speed 1 move. I think the way that the game is with maybe picking close the pocket, being able to get an extra speed 1 move would be perfect. With bunker assault, being able to get that extra speed 1 move is a lot better. Recover the research. You can move a lot closer to a POI on your opponent's side. So I think these 3 are great. Even Breakthrough would be really good because now you're getting hits off early, but then backup definitely doesn't matter. And it's not that you've got a lot of long range stuff, so breakthrough could be a good one. And but yeah, Padme with the bolster and or the clone commander for bolster. You've got lots of ways to give out surges. Bad Batch could use a lot of those surges, and your arcs and or the clone infantry squad. They're going to start with 2. So you're stacked with the amount of surges you'll have that game. But yeah, that is kind of one with Padme. I know that in the Discord, I've seen Masterbud post one with Wookiees and Padme with Strike Team Leader to be able to give retinue to a Wookiee squad, giving them an aim or a dodge. I think a dodge would be perfect. And then bolster, giving them a surge token as well, a well-needed surge token. So maybe you might like that. Because guidance, you could guidance bolster twice. You can do like, Yoda and Padme and Wookiees and, hand out a ton of surges to your Wookiee squads. If they're not in range, obviously, you'd probably want to just guidance them a dodge instead, but...
Yes. We'll have to take some testing.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Padme on the table a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So I've held off up to this point on getting Padme just because whenever 2.6 but for those other believers out there, a little bit of my deep dive to try to justify getting Padme. So Padme compared to a normal strike team, or I'm sorry, a normal naked core, Padme has 9 effective wounds to the naked core's 8 effective wounds. She can hand out an additional surge compared to just the one that they would get and be able to share through reliable. And the strike team upgrade with retinue really does kind of put her over the edge. And at 60 points, it does more or less pay for herself. I don't think you try to, score secret mission like Shadow Scout was saying. It's more so if you take her 3 pip, which if you have more than one, or even if you have one other hero, I still think her 3 pip's going to be a bit of a stretch because I feel like Attack of the Clones is going to be bringing a little bit more value because you can do a little bit more than just getting her a little bit closer in. But for 60 points, the extra surges, some of the courage, and the retinue through Strike Team Leader has definitely earned her spot compared to just an extra naked core, if that's what you're leaning towards. So we shall see how it turns out. I know I've got a test list going right now with Ahsoka and Padme, just so I can buff up the activation counts. Let's see. Hang on. Let's play around with this. Let's bust it out of the lab to see what crazy stuff I was playing around with.
Yeah, I think it's just
So
cost effective to bring Padme if you don't have enough for like a good core, because a core is what 54, 56, and she's 52. So if you needed to, at least she's another support person and whatnot. But if you needed a naked core, that wouldn't be bad.
yeah, because I ended up. Okay, so this one was actually 11 acts. So you've got Commander Ahsoka with Force Barrier and Improvised Orders, Padme with Strike Team Leader. You have a clone infantry squad with Boyle, the DPS, clone specialist, and E-Gear. Boyle's main thing is just to try to stick somewhat close to Ahsoka because with Guardian and backup, you can basically try to do a cheap imitation of Obi-Wan's Guardian 3 to make sure she can get where she needs to. 2 Naked Core, 1 full boat Arc Squad with the medic and the DC-15, a Echo ARF Trooper with the ARC Trooper Duo, 3 ATRTs with the laser cannon, and 1 ISP with the twin beam laser cannons. So 11 acts, you're right in at 999, so there's nothing really else. But you've got some mobility with the ARCs, Ahsoka, ISP, and you've got a lot of holding power with some range 4 shots early on between the ARFs being fed Ames and a surge token from Padme and the ATRTs and the twin beam on the ISP. You should be able to hit some things pretty early on turn 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
be a good one. I don't have any CIS lists. I'm not a CIS player.
Master
But
Mud, you slacking.
I know. But I'm trying to think of like the best. I think maybe even a strike team commandos, BX strike team commandos with mission objective on there would be a lot of fun. I think even just any sniper with mission objective would be really good.
I hope we get to see that guy from LVO update his list. To include the new upgrades. Because if I remember right, it was like around 11 activations, and if I remember right, then throwing it together, I think it could become then like Pago with Improv and Trusted Agent, Naked Sunfac, Maul with Burst, Throw, Into the Fray, Tenacity, 5 Jumbo Geos, 3 Steps with Strike and Fade, 1 HQ, and 2 LTAs. So
Yes.
it's a lot of triple moving.
A lot of triple moving and a lot of terrible, terrible fear.
Yep. Yep. I mean, imagine a world where Staps get 3 dodges and an attack with critical 2.
And already linked targeting array. Like that, they're
Yep.
already gonna have that aim.
Yep.
Ugh.
Gross.
The fact that all the Geonosian warriors are going to have, 9 minis? And rolling 18 dice at you at range 1 to 2.
Yep.
That's going to be terrible. And then you've got Maul to worry about. And then you've got Pago the Lesser being able to hand out any of the orders with Trusted Agent.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you hand out the order to with Trusted Agent?
Think it would probably come down to on either of the 1-pip turns, and pretty much it would be if you play Sunfac's card, you give it to Maul. If you play Maul's card, you give it to Sunfac.
Okay.
Assuming that like the other one is in like danger. But otherwise, I could also see it just or being used on Poggle's 2-pip, because
Yeah, you're giving it to one unit, so someone else might want it.
yeah, like you give it to Sunfac, who is then coordinating to all the other Geos, and then you're giving the Trusted Agent to Maul. So if you have HQ up and you use it, all you have in your bag is Poggle, assuming you can lay it out properly.
Ooh. All of that
And
off of
then
just
also
for one unit.
pretty much, and then also all your Geos would then have an aim and a dodge.
Oh my god. This is a Geonosian nightmare.
Yes.
Burn it with fire.
Bring the flamethrowers. Where's Kiadi Mundi?
Yeah.
It's not
uh,
a war.
yeah. No, I think that would
Yeah.
that one's gonna be scary. I think
Yep.
I'm waiting for Commandos to come out for Republic at some point for the fact that they need the flamethrower, and then I think yeah, no. Yeah, they just need the flamethrower for Republic at this point to be in a core unit.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get the Marines finally as a for first time having a third core unit.
That's what I meant, not the Commandos. I don't know
I
what I
got
was
you.
thinking. Yeah, the Marines. My bad. Um, but yeah, I think that'd be a great addition. But I think that is I think that's a lot of the upgrades used in some lists that have been revamped, and I'm looking forward to a lot of these new upgrades. Not dug in. I'm looking forward to using it, but not playing against it.
Yeah.
I think that Blast is going to be even better, and the Spotter uplink is going to be even better now that dug in is a thing. I'm excited to be able to play and utilize shores again, and then hopefully we can make them viable, because I know that they've been sitting on the sideline since the update, so I'm hoping now that we won't have to see them on the sideline. But overall, I'm very happy with the fact that we finally got generic upgrades, just regular stuff that anyone can use, and yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the next tournaments. I know. Yeah, speaking of, I think that there's a tournament this weekend that Cocozula will be streaming. It's a French game, is what it said. Or
Yeah,
it's in
the
France.
GT.
Yes. I don't know how many players are going to be there. I guess I should look on Longshanks and check it out. But he will be on YouTube, and he'll be recording it live. And France is what, +6 at least or so from America. I'm not sure. I think like I know that we're from England. We're +5 from on the East Coast, I should say.
Depends on where in France. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm not sure about that part of France, what time zone it's in.
gotcha. I would say it's at least 5, if not 6. But I mean, just to be safe, on the safe side. So I'll be sound asleep when it's kicking off, and tune in a little bit later. But yeah, I think I'll be doing a giveaway for that one, trying to help out his stream, because I know that he needs it and it's well wanted. I think it'd be great for people to go and support him. So check out his YouTube channel, subscribe to it. Click the link in the Legion Bat Rep channel on the Discord. And other than that, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
No, go try out the new upgrades.
Yeah, let us know what you think works. But all of the lists that we went over today will be in the description down below. You can check those out and kind of get the list ideas down here. And other than that, we'll go watch the tournament this weekend, subscribe to the channel, and join the Discord. But thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. And
Yeah, always.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the Pally and Graham After Dark videos. All right. But yeah. All right, guys. Y'all take it easy, and y'all have a great rest of your night. Peace out.
Later.
Yeah. Peace.